Hey guys, it's Courtney from Willow's Bloom, and today I'm here to talk to you about the full moon in Gemini happening on December 18th and 19th. So it's like a night on the 18th. And it's going to happen at 27 degrees of Gemini, and of course, the sun will be at 27 Sagittarius. And that is actually the galactic center. So we're definitely going to be getting some beautiful divine downloads, I feel, at this full moon. And one of the things that I'm seeing is an illumination happening because full moons, they bring light, they bring clarity, and there are also a number of other aspects in the sky that bring clarity and breakthroughs. So I feel like a lot of us are going to be seeing some type of answer to our prayers in a way, or clarity to things that maybe we have been thinking about for a while, about some aspect in our life, especially wherever Gemini falls in your chart. And we are going to talk about that. I'm going to break down all of the rising signs so you guys can get an idea of what that will look like for you. So this moon is actually making an exact trine with Jupiter in Aquarius, which is one of my favorite aspects of this because support from Jupiter like this, especially with the trine, is indicative of growth, is indicative of expansion, of tapping into your higher self, because Jupiter is the planet that is actually in connection with our moral code. It is a very religious or even spiritual planet. So it's connecting us to something larger outside of ourself and giving us this wisdom about where to turn to next. And when I pulled some cards on this, I got the Seven of Pentacles, High Priestess, Three of Wands, and Judgment card. And the High Priestess and Judgment card to me are really like this awakening happening. Inner stirrings, intuition, inner light coming out, an inner knowing that maybe we've always had but haven't had access to. So it feels like we are not just getting divine downloads, but unlocking parts of ourself that is meant to help us move forward and grow. So it's like maybe if we've been having certain questions or thinking about certain areas of our life and then what to do next, it's like we are awakening to a new part of ourself or an innate skill that we've always had, or a built-in seed or idea in our soul that is then going to grow over the course of the next 6 months. And with the Three of Wands, there is some element of taking a risk, making a decision to go on a journey. And this is highly intuitive as well, or like not intuitive, but this is kind of like a solo journey in a way. Like no one else can make this decision for you. No one else can go on this journey with you. It's, even if it's involving another person, it is the journey within the self, overcoming a lot of these things in terms of fears around maybe where we have certain ideas that we need to actually burn away or get rid of in order to take this journey and feel light and feel free. And again, take a risk in a way for ourselves. And with Mars conjunct the South Node, this is why I'm saying I feel like we need to burn away some old beliefs, because Mars is about purging. It's about violently, almost like just ripping something from your life. And the South Node is also about purging. It is the like back end of the dragon. Like it's associated with like excrement or like things leaving the body. And so because it's in Sagittarius, this is related to our current belief systems. We have been living in a certain paradigm and thinking a certain way, and this is here to help us shift that or shed that. And with the trine to Jupiter, reestablish new beliefs, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. It is what helps us decide and check in with our moral code and decide what we want moving forward. And with Mercury and Capricorn making a trine to Uranus and Taurus, this is this enlightening kind of energy. It gives us breakthroughs. It helps us get unstuck where there once was stickiness. It brings about a greater sense of freedom, of prosperity, and helping us to do things our own way. So Jupiter in Aquarius with making a trine to the moon, and Mercury making a trine to Uranus, it's all about our own unique way of moving through life. So the thing that you're unlocking within you is special to you. It has a special ingredient or sauce to it that is going to essentially create the things that you want. And it's not something that you can just like find online or look at what your friends are doing. It's going to be tailored to you. So if this is something around the future, maybe it's a completely different approach to a relationship or to a career or to a certain path in your life than you've taken before. But it's an approach that is totally aligned or in tune with your nature. But Mercury in Capricorn is also squaring Chiron in Aries. And so this square can bring about past fears and past shadows about really standing on your own, because Chiron in Aries is about individuation and the fear or the trauma around individuation. And so that's kind of like being in a group and feeling like you need to belong, or when you try to set yourself apart or you try to be your unique self, you get bullied or you get traumatized in some capacity. And so some of those things can be triggered at this time, especially with Venus in a conjunction with Pluto. We're really facing a lot of the things that are underlying our inability to connect with others, to feel this cohesiveness. And so it can bring up a lot of those shadows and those fears that do keep us a little bit at arm's length from others, as well as from ourself and our most authentic self. So I feel like it's a really big moment for us to shed past beliefs and redefine what we want, unlock certain gifts within us, and kind of let our own freak flag fly despite how different it makes us from other people. We're also experiencing Uranus making a square to Saturn. So this is kind of the last one that's going to wrap up the year. And we've had this square happen. This is the third one. So this is the last one of the year. But it's kind of been on and off throughout the year. And it's essentially us kind of redefining our boundaries and our limits. Uranus square Saturn, I talked about this in my video already with Ricardo, but this is a time when we often see like governments overthrown, or people trying to overthrow governments, I should say, or war, discord. And it's because there is an existing structure or system that needs to be modified, that needs to be updated. And so that's happening within ourselves. There are certain ways that we've done things, certain beliefs that we've had that need to be modified or updated based off of what is truly more in alignment with ourselves. And so this Uranus energy is meant, with the trine with Capricorn, is meant to help liberate us, but we might still face some of the restrictions of our past and of the way that we've always been doing things. And so that's just something to kind of keep in mind. But the fact that this full moon is on the galactic center is giving us that divine wisdom and assistance to help us kind of transition into this new phase into 2022, when I think a lot of us are going to be challenged spiritually and financially, and maybe even a little bit emotionally as well. And we're going to talk more about that in another video. But let's go ahead and get into all of the rising signs. All right, so up first we have Aries Rising. So this year that coming up in 2022 is called the year of the tiger in Chinese zodiac, I guess. And it's been something that's been really on my mind, because I've actually had a dream about a white tiger swimming in the ocean like a year or two ago, and it really stuck with me. And then I heard that this year coming up in 2022 is the year of the water tiger specifically, and in my dream I had a dream with a white tiger, and that's what you guys have right here, a white tiger. You also have the crow, and you also have the dragonfly. It's just so reflective. It's hard to see. That's really interesting to me. So that makes me feel like this moon is really substantial for you and is going to have a large part of what happens now play out over 2022. So like some ideas that you're getting now, especially because this moon is in your third house of the mind, some ideas or communication or news that you receive from other people, some vision about your future goals with this trine with Jupiter in the 11th, getting a lot of clarity on something that you want to do moving forward. That thing that's coming through for you is going to play out over 2022 with this white tiger. That's what I'm feeling. And this crow card, I feel like, is trying to say that you are extremely tapped into your intuition right now. And you have the Queen of Swords. Yeah, I feel like you guys are having just complete clarity right now. More clarity than you've had in a long time. This Queen of Swords is really trying to cut through the bullshit and see things exactly how they are. And so this Crowtho is making me feel like it's third eye activation, where you're actually seeing well into the future. Especially with the trine to Jupiter in the 11th. Jupiter transiting your 11th is already giving you this ability to see well into the future. And so I feel like that's what's going to happen for you guys. So if you have some ideas come through, or communication come through, some visions come through, trust what happens right now. These are kind of a lot of cards. I don't think I want to pull all those. We'll set them aside. You guys also have Mercury in Capricorn in the 10th house making a trine to Uranus in the 2nd house. Maybe I should pull this in. That's interesting because I feel like you guys, I don't know, maybe there is some kind of situation that feels like it's been just really burdensome in your career. Maybe you guys, you guys have been having Pluto move through there. So there is some level of challenge whenever Pluto's transiting a house. It's like we are put through these really interesting experiences to help us transform, right? That's what Pluto's doing. So Pluto likes to challenge us whenever it's triggered. And with Venus, with Pluto in the 10th, you guys might be kind of reevaluating certain aspects of your career and feeling like certain elements of it are not sustainable. Because I pulled this Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Wands, and 3 of Swords. And specifically these cards are showing me that there's something unsustainable in your career sector, or even like your romance, love life, because Venus with Pluto can always talk about that, or it can talk about finances, or even relationships at work. But one of those elements, I do feel like a lot of you guys, it will be work specifically. One of those elements feels like it's no longer sustainable, and you are trying to maybe, there's too many cards in that too. You're trying to maybe find a way to make it sustainable for you, or make money in a way that feels really good to you. With Mercury making a trine to Uranus in the 2nd, I feel like you will have some kind of breakthrough around what to do within your finances or within your career. It's making a square to Chiron in the 1st. So if you have some idea about like, hey, I want to change something about what I'm doing for work, or I want to make money a little bit of a different way, this square to Chiron in the 1st could indicate that you guys maybe don't necessarily like trust what's coming through, or you feel like you can't act on it because you can't go off on your own and do what you want, and like do something different because of, it's all honestly because of usually some type of fear. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like you guys are just kind of going through this really deep metamorphosis around your values and beliefs within your career sector. And it could be connected to like your relationships within your career, your relationship to authority, to your bosses. Yeah. Or again, your finances, because Venus is finances. And with Uranus making a square to Saturn in the 11th, Uranus in your 2nd, squaring Saturn in the 11th. I don't know. I feel like this has been some kind of ongoing thing where maybe you, let me pull a card on that, because I do think for some of you it's finances, but I think for, oh my god, for a lot of you something is going on in terms of like just security. The 2nd house is always what makes us feel stable and simple and secure. The 5 of Cups. Yeah, you guys have some cards around like pain and loss. So maybe the 2nd house is like you've had some difficulties and have wanted to recover from them maybe. Maybe some things from the past come up around certain heartbreaks that you've had in relationships, because I do have like Cancer, I feel 7th house relationships. Maybe some people from the past are coming up. I mean, that's really what happens at this time anyway, with Venus on Pluto, and then it's going to go retrograde like right around this time as well. And so you guys might feel like you missed some kind of opportunity in the past or with someone in the past. But with the moon in the 3rd house, trining Jupiter in the 11th, I feel like you guys are getting a lot of clarity around where you want to go in the future, even though some of those things from the past are still, like people specifically, are still kind of in your sphere. I feel like you're either getting other kind of career connections or new friendships, or you're just feeling like you have a set plan or an idea of what to do in the future. But regardless, it's like the universe is giving you that next step or that action plan. But even though that's happening, and I feel like that's kind of like the Chariot card is, all right, I've got my plan, I'm got my intuition with that Crow card, and now I'm going to go straight for what I want. But there is kind of a lot of cards around like lack, or being exhausted, or being heartbroken, or crying over like these spilt cups. Like there are like quite a lot of cards like that. So I do feel like you guys, some stuff from the past really could be coming up for you, especially because Mercury's making a square to Chiron in your first house. And Mars is on the South Node and Sag in your ninth house. A lot of these difficulties are all coming back up to the surface to be addressed, to be let go of. And all of us are doing that, right? Like all of us right now with this Venus-Pluto stuff are really going through it. But I feel like you guys are leaving, even though this stuff from the past is coming up, you are leaving with so much clarity around exactly what's going on, and maybe even exactly what happened in the past, or what went wrong, or what you learned from it, or why it happened. Like you might get clarity on the past as well. And this Wheel of Fortune card is saying to me that like this is ending, or not just this is ending, because I think this stuff has already ended, these difficulties, but it's like things are starting to shift now into a gear, and they're starting to work, and you're starting to gain clarity. Yeah, so I feel like this was all over the place, but generally what I'm trying to say is that I think that you guys are getting some clarity at this time, and really intuitive, like some third eye visions. But I think that there might also be some painful stuff from the past that can kind of churn up to be dealt with, and I think you'll also gain clarity around those things. So that was probably too general, but anyway, I'm sorry, Aries, that was probably not very good. But if it resonated, please do let me know by giving me a thumbs up and commenting down below. And yeah, if you guys are interested in doing a 2022 reading, let me know in the comments down below, because I think I might record one of those next weekend. All right, bye. All right, up next we have Taurus. So for you guys, this full moon is happening in your second house of finances, which means that the sun is in the 8th house. Remember, this is happening at 27 degrees of Gemini. And it's making a trine to Jupiter in the 10th house. So to me, it's just funny because everyone's reading, like, even though it doesn't, like, all the full moons are happening in different houses, like, everyone is experiencing Venus being conjunct Pluto right now. And I feel like relationship stuff and stuff from the past are coming up, especially past relationships, are coming up for everyone, regardless of like where this house placement is, which is really interesting. Okay, so yeah, and the reason I say that is because I just pulled a 2 of Cups for you guys. So even though this isn't happening in your 1st and 7th house axis, it doesn't matter, because there's something going on in terms of relationships, or maybe even your relationship with yourself. So yeah, having the moon in your 2nd house, these cards also came up for Aries. Weird. Having the moon in your 2nd house is going to definitely highlight your money and your relationship with your money, as well as your relationship with yourself and your self-worth and confidence. And because it's making a trine to Jupiter in the 10th, I'm definitely getting the feeling that you guys are gaining a lot of momentum and confidence in your career. Things are really paying off. This is a time that could be really fruitful and really abundant for you. And I got the Grand Trine Blessings card, so this to me is definitely a positive indicator of having some career success, some things come to you easily, and this is a trine, and the aspect with Jupiter is a trine as well. And so it's not like you have to really try, like this is efforts or blessings from past efforts that are coming to you. It's just kind of landing on your doorstep. I also pulled the Cosmic Egg for you and the Rabbit card. Interesting. Let me just look up what this cosmic egg means before I continue on. This is the crown chakra. It's the final card in the journey of the animal spirit deck, and it represents the unfolding of cosmic consciousness. The state emerges after you've tread the path for quite some time, and through self-effort and grace, we experience self-realization. A sense of contentment and oneness spontaneously arises within us, and the veils of our self-limiting beliefs are lifted. Dude, that's exactly what I feel like the moon second's about. Like, how were you limiting yourself? And with Mercury making a square to Chiron in the 10th, I feel like you are shedding a lot of those things that have been limitations subconsciously. And usually out of past fears, out of protecting ourselves. Like, our brain will kind of put in these certain limitations or parameters of what we can and can't have, what we can and can't do. And I feel like you guys are just completely unlocking any of that. Because Mercury in the 9th is trining Uranus in the 1st. It's liberating all those things from your subconscious and purging them. Especially with Mars conjunct the South Node in Sagittarius in the 8th house. This is a purging of belief systems, a purging of belief systems that were created from trauma. Because the 8th house is where we store our trauma around vulnerability, around intimacy, around our connections from childhood, our connections into adulthood and our relationships. I feel like you guys are letting a lot of that go and sinking into a contentment with this cosmic egg. You're leaving those limiting beliefs behind, and you feel like you are, just happy. And I think it's because you're finally getting some tread, or does that make sense? Like, you're finally starting to get some traction in your career and having some things pay off, which have been probably a little bit frustrating because Saturn has been moving through your 10th house. Uranus has been squaring Saturn all year. And what that has been doing, this kind of slowness in your career, has been challenging you guys to make certain personal adjustments in your life. And now Uranus is trining Mercury, and it's giving you this breakthrough. It's giving you this go-ahead, this green light, and it's saying, okay, now you've done enough of this work. Now you're going to get some blessings back. And I think it's going to create a lot of self-love and self-worth. And I think that's what I'm seeing with this Two of Cups, more so than relationships. But I think that will spill over positively into your relationships. And that self-love, that self-worth is what's going to also create that breakthrough in your career, because the universe is just giving you back how you see yourself. But it feels like you're not just building yourself up, because Venus is with Pluto in the 9th house. Like, you're not just lying to yourself. Yes, you're optimistic with Venus in the 9th, but Pluto is there. So you're also realistic. You're also seeing things with clarity and discernment. And you're using that discernment with yourself to be both kind and loving to yourself, but also realistic about what needs to be improved upon. And that's why I have the Queen of Swords followed by the Five of Pentacles. You have absolute clarity on where you've been limiting yourself, where you've been holding back, where you feel like you've had lack within yourself. And so I feel like you're exploring that right now, and you're making so much progress with Uranus there. Uranus is shaking it all loose. And I also have the Chariot card after this. And to me, this is using both the masculine and the feminine, the intuition and the action. So I feel like you guys are combining that. You're combining the passion with the compassion with the honesty. So you're mixing all these things to achieve some level of success in your career. And you also got the Rabbit card. I wonder what this card means. Let me look up what the Rabbit means. That feels important. Afraid of everything, overwhelmed and frozen. The rabbit loves to remind his friends that someday the eagle will swoop down and eat him. He talks and talks and talks about it so loudly, in fact, that one day the eagle hears and thanks him for the great idea. Rabbit energy is alive when we are scared, often about the future, and become our own worst enemy. We spin a dust cloud of fear and then complain to others. Spin up a dust cloud of fear and then complain to others that we are lost. Notice your thoughts and words. They shape your destiny. Okay, I feel like this is kind of giving you advice, but I also feel like it's showing you what you're transcending. I think that a lot of us have had quite a bit of anxiety And you guys are ruled by Venus, and Venus is hanging out with Pluto. So you guys are being deeply transformed right now. And I think you're being transformed in a way where you're letting go a lot of those fears. And those fears are what cause those self limitations. So I feel like you're gaining clarity on what those are, and you're able to release them. But often to release them, you will face them again. You will face situations that bring them up. And yes, I mean, Venus is with Pluto for this entire month. It's going retrograde for 40 days. You guys are doing deep inner work. And so some of these things could get triggered. Some of them could be brought up, especially with the Mercury squaring Chiron on the 12th. Again, it's like fears around past things. And so I think that you guys are transcending that. It might not happen all at once, but it's this process that you are undergoing. And I think by March, when Venus is finally making some headway again, moving direct, out of the, the realm of Pluto, I think that's when you guys are going to start feeling like, wow, okay, I totally see the inner work and the changes now. Now I'm more confident, now I'm more content. So I don't think it's going to happen at this moon, but I think you're going to get some breakthroughs at this moon, and it's going to unfold until March when you really start to feel like a new person. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Taurus. I think you are just gaining self-confidence, self-worth. It's impacting your career positively, and you're letting go of some of these fears and self-limitations that come from the past, and that come from, just life. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Taurus. If this resonates, please let me know by giving me a like and comment down below. And I hope you have such a beautiful day. Bye. All right, my fellow Geminis, you guys are up next. So this full moon is happening in your first house. And if you have any planets at 27 degrees of Gemini or even Sagittarius, you'll be feeling this very intensely. So I'm kind of curious how that will be for you guys. This is so weird. This card keeps falling out for every single group. 5 of Cups. But this is such a positive moon. I really feel like this is a time for breakthroughs in relationships. Yeah. And I think a lot of us are facing a lot of fear in relationships right now. With Venus hanging out with Pluto all month, it's like all the heaviness, all the shadows, all the manipulation, the fear, the anxiety, the controllingness, the possessiveness, like all those things come up. Choose one more animal for you guys. You guys got 2 bird cards. This is really interesting. The hawk and the vulture. So yeah, having your moon in the first house is illuminating yourself, right? It's giving you clarity and vision about yourself. But the sun is also in the 7th house. So it's not just about yourself, but about how you are in relation to other people or in relationships, and especially with Venus and Pluto, and the fact that I pulled all these, honestly, like relationship cards with the Knight of Cups and 3 of Swords. I definitely get the sense that you guys are, first house, examining aspects of yourself in relationships. Saturn return. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what I'm seeing. So, yeah, I think that you guys are examining yourself in relationships. With the trine to Jupiter in the 9th, you are trying to create a more optimistic belief system around those relationships. And I feel like it's almost trying to interact more so in relationships, like as your higher self. That's how I see a lot of the 9th house is self-betterment, self-growth, and our higher selves. Our higher mind, right? That's what Jupiter is all about. And so I feel like you guys are connecting to that, but you are also facing the darkness. And with this vulture card, I feel like you guys are transforming the darkness into something a lot better, like transmuting those emotions and taking it as fuel or energy to create something more intentional and positive. So instead of getting swept up into the negativity, I feel like you guys are taking that for your own benefit, for your own nutrients, to grow and to prosper in your next relationship. And I think a lot of this is coming from pains, from last heartbreak that you've had in relationships where people have let you down, people have disappointed you, and you're taking that as the vulture and again, transmuting it. And I think this 5 of Cups is really acting as a warning here to tell you to utilize the best energy from these negative experiences, but not focus on them. And next to the Knight of Cups, I feel like it's telling you guys that new relationships, new love, new connections, new friendships, or if not new, at least better ones, are coming in. And with the Five of Cups next to it, I think you guys might not fully see the opportunity that's here for you because of that past pain. And that's what this vulture is coming up for, to help you release that past pain, so that the Five of Cups, so that you're not looking at the Knight of Cups like the Five of Cups. Or sorry, like the Knight of Cups comes, but you are like, you have your back to him or to that person or that relationship, when that could be such a beautiful connection. And it's because you're focusing on all the pain. But with this vulture card, it's telling me that you are finally releasing that, finally transmuting that. And I think it's going to be this like massive awakening. With Mercury in the 8th house, this is us really intellectualizing and talking about, communicating about our trauma or things that have prevented us from opening up to people and being vulnerable to people. And it's trining Uranus in the 12th, which is always indicating to me that there are either subconscious events or subconscious things or past events that are being released through this communication, through opening up, through being vulnerable. And I think so that's what you guys are doing. And I think what's different about this time than maybe past times that you've tried that is that whoever is coming in with this Nine of Cups and Six of Pentacles, or whatever existing relationships are there, are actually equal in balance. They're actually somebody that's interested in you, that is wanting to hear about all these things, and isn't going to just take advantage of you. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is a lot of us have a lot of fears with Venus and Pluto moving through our 8th house, a lot of fears about being hurt and all those negative emotions that come up. And so we choose not to open up to some people. But then there are certain people that come into our lives that are safe. And so this spread is telling me that you're meant to open up to those people, trust them, and feel like it's okay. It is safe to open up to these new relationships. But taking always the wisdom with you. You have a Saturn return age card. And this is saying that you've gathered wisdom from difficult experiences. And it's saying that even if these people come into your life that are not trustworthy, you have this wisdom within you from those past events to use your discernment about who you want to open up to. And if you're not sure right away, it's okay. I think that you guys can really trust yourself with this first house card and the moon being in your first house. I think you guys can trust the intuition that's coming in. This trine to Jupiter is giving you divine insight. So really lean into your heart, to your soul, because you guys know who you can trust and know who you can't trust already. And with Mars conjunct the South Node in the 7th house in Sagittarius, you guys are absolutely being asked to let go of existing thought patterns and beliefs around relationships that are not serving you, that are keeping you from fully opening up, fully being content. And it's a purging process. It's a deep letting go from layers and layers within ourselves. And so it can bring up fear. It can bring up anxiety, but all to help us become light in the future. And I pulled the Hawk card for you, which I'm trying to look up. Okay. Watchful, all-seeing, messenger of divinity. That's exactly what I'm saying. That feels like you guys are being connected to your guides right now about who to trust, who not to trust, and what to say, how to open up, how to release some of these aspects and beliefs in relationships. And this one says, the sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move. The keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eyes on you and the winds are shifting. It said the hawk carries news upon its wings and sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly, though it may seem small or insignificant. It will eventually redirect your course. Okay, and that's what I'm feeling for you guys. Like, this is saying that new things are coming in. The winds are shifting. A message is coming to you. I think that message is coming from within. I don't think it's from without. The moon is in the first house. It's illuminating what is already within you. And so you guys have this message that is being unlocked right now. And it's saying that it's carrying news about the winds shifting. So I feel like it's kind of reiterating what I was saying, that elements of relationships are really changing for you. And you're getting this gut feeling of who you can trust, who you can't trust. And it's all being illuminated right now. And so lean into that, lean into what you know. You can see all the details, you can see everything, and your intuition and subconscious is processing it. So you can trust what that is telling you. And also trust that it's not just going to be a repeat of what happened with these past relationships that hurt you. This is someone with the Six of Pentacles that is here to show up and listen to you and be there for you, regardless of what kind of relationship it is. And so it's important to use your discernment with that Saturn card, but lean into the people that you truly do feel are safe for you. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Gemini. If this resonates, please let me know by giving me a like and comment down below. And I hope you guys have such a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Cancer Rising. So for you guys, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 12th house and making a trine to Jupiter in your 8th house. Whenever I see that, I definitely see like releasing, letting go. I just pulled the Five of Swords. So you guys might have recently had some kind of like ending of some sorts. The Five of Swords is often about picking ourselves up after an ending, some type of recovery, introspection about what just happened. And then on top of that, I pulled the Knight of Swords, which is really fast-moving energy. And then right after that, the Four of Swords, which is slowing down again. So this is an interesting like combination. And then the Knight of Cups. So really, really interesting combination going on here. I do see some healing, some brokenness, but then the Knight of Swords is like fast action, and the Knight of Cups is like, wait, but I love you, come back. So I'm curious what this means for you guys exactly. You guys got the Lamb and the Deer. Notice how both of these are like really sweet, really gentle animals that don't harm anything. And there's lots of greens in the background, really connected to the heart chakra. So I feel like you guys are feeling maybe a little bit like raw or vulnerable, or I don't know, just like really like sensitive. And I think it's oftentimes because we just went through some kind of emotional hardship or some kind of breakdown of some sort that we feel very tender after, and we feel very open to the divine to lead us in those moments of our time. Grand Cross Provoker. Yeah, I feel like something happened or is happening at this time, you guys, with this Grand Cross card. That does feel a little bit challenging, and it's maybe challenging you in multiple areas of your life. You guys got the Capricorn card, the Earth Element Stability card, and the South Node card, and then the Fire card. You guys got a lot going on here. I did not intend to pull that many. Okay. So the Fire Element Desire card ended up being next to the Knight of Cups. So maybe you guys are having some kind of like magnetic connection with somebody, or this kind of desirous relationship with somebody. Maybe there's someone that you crave or want to be around more. Or if it's not the Knight of Cups as a person, the Knight of Cups can also be an idea, a creative passion that you're interested in really going into. So I feel like if you have had some sort of like let go or loss, you're also being given possibly a new either romantic interest, friendship interest, or creative project that feels really exciting and emotionally like stimulating for you, like really desirous for you. And I think that's coming in here when you have the Lamb and the Deer to help you in this like tender, vulnerable state transition into more strength. So it's like lighting your inner fires a little bit. So coming from this beautiful heart chakra space, you're so open because maybe you've been recently wounded with this Five of Swords. Maybe you've had some difficulties with people recently, with Venus and Pluto in your 7th house. You probably had maybe some more intense emotions come up. But yeah, I think that you guys are opening up and bringing, and it's attracting this light or this passion or this new person or opportunity to you that feels really exciting, but maybe like you're not quite ready to dive in and fully invest because you're the Lamb and the Deer. So I feel like you guys are receiving this kind of person or opportunity, but you're maybe not 100% in it yet. Like you do have the Knight of Swords, but it's followed by the Four of Swords. So like part of you wants to run and jump straight into it. And then part of you is like, wait, let's like rest. Let's like reflect. Let's check in with myself. Let's heal a little bit. And then we can go after what we want. So there is this kind of trepidation I see, or just not trepidation, but just like holding yourself back a little bit. And I do think it's because you want something that is stable, that is safe, that feels really grounded, and you want to feel grounded in yourself first before acting on whatever this is, because you are still kind of recovering or sensitive, and so you don't want to just come at this new opportunity without feeling really secure on your own. You feel like you need to check in with yourself, have some time to yourself, and then kind of go after this thing. So there's like this interesting balance of the two. You guys also have Mercury in the 7th making a trine to Uranus in the 11th. So that's where I feel like this relationship or opportunity is coming from. It's coming from other people. It's coming from outside of you. And it's making a square to Chiron in the 10th. So there may still be somehow like this might still somehow go against what you have going on in your career, or might trigger some difficulties in your career, or like the traditional structure things, the traditional way of doing things, or like certain relationship with certain authorities and stuff in your life. Because I did pull the Capricorn card, and this is related to the 10th house of career. So I'm not really sure how this is playing out exactly, but there's something about this new opportunity that's triggering what you already have going on within your career or life plan, and it might not feel like they're totally both in alignment. And so maybe that's also part of the reason why you need to check in, is to like see how you can have these things kind of all come together for you. Yes, you also have Mars in the South Node conjunct in the 6th house, and that's in Sag. So you guys might be needing to let go some ideas or beliefs or way of doing things that you've held strongly tight to. With the South Node card, I think it's giving extra emphasis to letting some of that go, specifically around your work or the way that you show up in your career, your health, and your daily life. There's something about that needs to be shifted, and I think that can really help with this 4 of Swords, like taking some time to examine maybe some elements of like your work, your health, your daily routine that isn't actually that doesn't actually feel good anymore, and can contribute to this career or like tradition not being in alignment with this new person or opportunity. There's something misaligned there, and I'm hoping that by purging whatever is in the 6th house, that South Node around the health, career, daily routines, maybe that will facilitate the career and this opportunity, or career and this person kind of aligning in your life or being more on the same page. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. Definitely a lot of like sensitive energy, innocence, kind of coming back to nature, coming back to your heart center. A lot of openness. And I think because you're open, the universe is giving you this like person or opportunity on a platter that feels like it's emotionally inspiring and uplifting and healing for you. And so I think that this could be potentially really positive. So definitely act on it when you feel ready. You don't need to rush into anything with this Knight of Swords and 4 of Swords. Again, you'll have that push and pull between taking action and delaying, and just take your own time. You can feel stable and secure before going after this. It's not something that's just going to be fleeting and go away. If it's meant to stay, it will stay, and it will be ready for you even after Venus goes direct on January 29th. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Cancer. I hope that this resonates, and if it does, please give me a like and comment down below, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo Rising. So for you guys, this full moon is happening in your 11th house. That means the sun is moving through your 5th house. So you guys might be feeling like, especially social lately, yeah, you might have a lot coming up in relationships. I pulled the 7 of Cups for you guys. So maybe you have lots of options right now, or you're lacking clarity about certain people in your life because you feel like maybe you're even like daydreaming about certain people. Let's see what the rest of the cards. Strength. This is your card, Leo. The Lovers. So you guys definitely have some decision to make. With the Lovers next to the 2 of Pentacles, these are both about decisions. There's 2 options. And the 7 of Cups is like, there's a lot of options. Ace of Pentacles and the Magician card. You guys got way too many cards. And those are on a different line. So I feel like the 7 of Cups, Strength, Lovers, and 2 of Pentacles are about your love life. And the Ace of Pentacles and Magician are about your career. Because I am getting 2 different messages in the astrology about love and career. So with the moon in Gemini in the 11th, you guys are definitely feeling really social. You guys are having more connections, people coming through. It's trining Jupiter in the 7th. So you guys might actually get some kind of like relationship opportunity here. But I feel like with this card, with the Seven of Cups, the Lovers, the Two Pentacles, it's like, I don't know. I don't know who I want. Like, there's all these really great people, but I'm still like lacking clarity about what I need and what I want moving forward. But being next to the Strength card, I feel like this is telling you that you're meant to, because this is your card, Leo. Like, I feel like you're meant to tap into your essence, right? You're meant to tap into what your heart is truly telling you, and in order to move forward. And a lot of these animal cards that I've pulled have a lot to do with like processing negative or difficult situations. I pulled the buffalo and the oyster card. The buffalo runs straight towards a storm, and the oyster filters out the dirt and the debris in order to create a pearl. So both of them are like willing to tackle these kind of difficult experiences to create something really beautiful out of them. And so I feel like that's maybe something that you guys have done in the past. You have had Saturn moving through your 7th house of relationships. This has specifically been an area of difficulty for you over the past year. And Uranus is also squaring that in the 10th. So it's like career and relationships have really been taking this hit. Like, both of them have needed to be somehow transformed or given you more freedom, more awakening in those areas, but yet they've also been slightly blocked. And so it could have been a little bit of a frustrating time for you this year, trying to make forward progress or feel really great and feel relief in your relationships and in your career, but having things like just challenged in those areas of your life. And so I feel like what this is saying is that some of the difficult emotions that you've headed towards and processed are paying off now at this full moon, and you are going to be given the opportunity to unite with somebody or even yourself in a way that is extremely compatible and extremely fulfilling. And you'll have to make certain decisions about how to prioritize those elements of your life. So your relationship with yourself and with this new person, or if you have new connections come in, because this is an 11th house, you might have a lot of new friendships come in. And then it's like, well, then from there, I have to learn how to prioritize. How am I going to get my work done while also making sure I'm super social? And so that's what I feel like you guys are doing. You're juggling a lot of options, but they're all really good options. They're options to connect with yourself. They're options to make more friends or have this beautiful new romantic interest. There's a lot of opportunities coming in here for you. And with Mercury in the 6th house making a trine to Uranus in the 10th, I also think that you guys are opening up career opportunities, but specifically because Mercury is involved and the Magician card is involved, I feel like you guys are manifesting these opportunities through your own thoughts. So there's something that you like, I want to do this, and then you communicate that to someone, and then it's somehow like, they're like, oh yeah, I actually have the perfect opportunity where you can do that. It's like the kind of energy where you are in charge, and it feels like you are literally cultivating or manifesting the beginning of something, like an idea, or like specifically like an idea, I guess is what I'm saying. And so I feel like you guys have a lot to juggle, because you have this new thing coming in, this new opportunity, this new idea that is taking place in the physical form, but then you have all these new friendships, or you have existing friendships that you are just like relishing in, you are enjoying the creativity that you have with these connections, or if it's a new person, it's like you're daydreaming about them, or maybe you just have many different like lovers that are options for you, and you're like, gosh, things are like thriving. And it's because you went within this year and you went to the depths of your soul with this crocodile card. Now you went already underwater with Saturn in the 7th house. You've had your challenges. Now the crocodile is coming out onto the land. It's coming out to manifest after it's done the internal work. And that's what I feel like you guys have done. And with Mars conjunct the South Node in the 5th house, I feel like you guys are maybe needing to let go or reevaluate some specific kind of creative things that you've done. And I say that because I pulled the Neptune card at the same time, which is all about creativity. And so I feel like there might be some element of your creative ventures that you need to stop or to change, but that are stagnating in some way. If it's not your creativity, it could be something around like your pleasures and enjoyment. So Neptune is often associated with people who struggle with addiction. The fifth house is also highly associated with addiction. So any kind of like addicting habits, substances, that type of thing is associated with Neptune. You guys with the Mars and the South Node are being asked to cut that out of your life. And it's only once you do that that you're able to fully access all these other benefits that are coming to you. I mean, you can access them, but you might have a lot more trouble with this Two of Pentacles, really prioritizing what you need to prioritize because of the fact that you will have wasted energy and efforts into Neptunian things, which just dissolve into nothing and don't add substance to your life. So that's my warning to you guys, is to really make sure that you don't have to be super decisive right now. This is an energy of having lots of choices, but you don't have to be super decisive, but you do have to prioritize. You do have to kind of narrow things down a little bit. And I think it's just saying to make sure that you're spending your time the way that is helping you move forward on those specific projects or relationships, and not spending them on old addictions and patterns that feel like they are not substantial in your life. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Leo. If this resonates, please let me know by giving me a like and comment down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Virgo Rising. So for you, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 10th house of career. And it's trining Jupiter in the 6th, which is all about having things flow in your daily routine to support your career. This is so funny because I'm a Virgo rising, and wow, these cards resonate so much. So whenever you have a full moon in the 10th house, it is illuminating the most visible part of your chart. It's your visibility. So there is some element here of you guys maybe having a little bit, like I said, more visibility in your career, having new opportunities come to you that will help you become more financially independent, or more independent on your own, like having more responsibility, having less people like watching over you, having more freedom in how you schedule and how you plan your time. And that might be one of the challenges for you specifically, because I pulled the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Wands. So there is an element of needing to plan and prioritize here. But you also have the Queen of Pentacles, which to me is indicating that you guys are having some kind of transition or change, because you have the Six of Swords and Nine of Pentacles. Sorry, not Queen of Pentacles. So it's like you are transitioning from one stable thing in your life where you were maybe working for somebody, or you were doing something specifically in a certain way in your career, or you had a certain role, and it's like you're moving away from that into the Nine of Pentacles, where you have more independence, more choice, and because of that, because you have more choice, you have to have more prioritizing and planning skills, more discernment about how to manage your time. And so I think you guys, that's kind of what's happening for you guys, is career breakthroughs that are giving you guys, that are putting more emphasis on needing to be really self-disciplined and plan well. I also pulled the Fish and the Tiger card for you guys. So these are really different energies, one of worry and one of strength. The Tiger is one of the apex predators, while the fish is the thing being eaten, the thing worried, the thing going with the flow. So there is some element of you guys, maybe it's telling you, like, of course with the fish, there is some element of going with the flow. It's underneath the Six of Swords card. So like just kind of move through this transition, right? They're both in the water. They're both moving. It's time for you guys to transition and not fight it. But then with the fish card, there's always an element of worry, worrying about what other people think, worrying about how, like, there's like a group mentality, right? So it's like not even your worry. It's like worry from your family, worry from your friends, like people asking you questions. And it's like you're tapping into this like group think of, oh, this is dangerous, or this is unsafe, or I'm not going to succeed. And that's not like that's not from you. It's like this group mentality, or the way that people tend to view things. And I feel like this is trying to warn you against that, because you guys have, oh, I already pulled one of these cards, whoops. You guys have a lot of potential, and you have the Nine of Pentacles, and underneath it is the Tiger. So you guys are going to be successful, but you just have to trust. You just have to really stop worrying so much. And yeah, I think that you guys, with this Two of Wands card and the Uranus card underneath it, are going to get some insight about what to do next that comes really suddenly, or that is some kind of like breakthrough or freedom giving insight, some kind of yeah, really exciting, maybe new idea, new creative project that can help you, because you have Mercury in the 5th trining Uranus in the 9th. So this is definitely giving you guys like a liberation in terms of a creative idea that will move your path forward. So I feel like that is super positive. And I think with the 2 of Pentacles and Chiron underneath it, you guys have to maybe like let go of some, I mean, the 2 of Pentacles is all about prioritizing, right? And so I think maybe it's saying to let go of some past priorities, especially with Mars in the South Node conjunct in your 4th house. Like maybe some old ways of doing things, some old patterns, or even some priorities within the home need to be given up a little bit, and so that you can lighten your load a little bit. You also have Mercury in the 5th squaring Chiron in the 8th, so there might be some kind of like fears that allow you, or that keep you from fully opening up to and like prioritizing things correctly. Let me pull a card on that. What is this Chiron in the 8th all about? The Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like you guys, with Chiron in the 8th, there can sometimes feel like this lack, or like we want to hold on to certain opportunities, but it's like out of fear. So if there is that, like this thing is trying to tell me like cut things away. Like don't be afraid to stop things or to take a risk at this time, because Chiron is having you hold on out of fear that you're not going to have enough. But the 2 of Pentacles is saying a lot is trying to come in, and you're already going to have so much to do that you can't hold on to the old. You have to let the old go so that you can accept the new things coming in and prioritize those. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. A lot of career breakthroughs, transitioning out of one phase into another phase of your life, learning how to prioritize and getting some brand new insights or ideas about your future plans that are going to help create this 9 of Pentacles stability. So just trust your intuition, trust that you're making the right decisions, trust that you can let certain things go and open up to new opportunities. And that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Virgo Rising. If this resonates, please give me a like and comment down below, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, so if you noticed my background or my lighting and everything change, it is because I recorded this and my microphone just decided to quit out on me. I don't know why it's broken. And so, yeah, that's why everything's different. So now we are going to be talking about Libra Rising. So for you guys, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 9th house of beliefs. And it's trining Jupiter in the 5th house. So this is super positive in terms of social connections, in terms of feeling really confident about where you're moving forward, what you want to do, and your plans in your life. With the South Node and Mars in your 3rd house of Sagittarius, there is a need to let go of certain thought processes that you have had. And I think having this full moon in the 9th house will help you in that process to illuminate what you should believe instead. And I just pulled the 10 of Swords, which is all about a definitive ending. And it's interesting because it came right after the 9 of Pentacles. And this is actually a message that came through before for you guys, was that you guys are having some ending in your career or in your life so that you can go on a path that is a little bit more aligned. So maybe the ending is more so like what your thoughts were about how things were going to go, and not necessarily like this outright ending with everything in your career, but there is some kind of stopping and starting happening. So I think that some of you guys will be initiating something that feels more like the 9 of Pentacles. You will start to have some kind of vision come in about what new things could happen in your life that would make you feel much more financially stable, to make you feel much more independent as well. And I just pulled the She Who Grants Wishes, Wish Desires Hope card. And I also pulled the card She Who Hopes, Love, Hope, and Relationships. Interesting. I mean, this is a really intense time for you guys just because your planetary ruler Venus is going retrograde in December. It is going to be hanging out with Pluto for the month of December. It's going to be retrograde also in January. So there's a lot of really deep self-reflection happening for you, and realigning with certain parts of your purpose, especially in relationships, but also in your life. I mean, you are a heavily relationship focused individual, whether you want to admit that or not. If you're Libra rising, that is part of your path. And so a lot of what you're doing right now is kind of analyzing how you want to show up in the world and in your partnerships. And if that needs a little bit of tweaking according to certain values that you have, then it needs some tweaking. And I do feel like it does with Mars and South Node third. There needs to be tweaking around communication or mindset specifically. Certain things that you've been doing, maybe things that have been keeping you really busy, that have been taking you from something that has a lot of potential to grow into the future. And so I think that you guys are meant to be creating a sense of stability in your life with something new or different, or stabilizing your existing connections by really tuning into what it is that you and your partner need to truly be fulfilled, and also creatively what you need to be fulfilled. I pulled the Earth, Water, Water Element Sensing card. And this is all about you guys tuning into those deeper emotional needs, as well as your creative needs that I was just talking about. You guys also have Mercury in the 4th house, making a trine to Uranus in the 8th house. And I think this is what's going to help you shed some of those current beliefs that have maybe been set up for you in terms of your foundation. So things that have made you feel really safe or really comfortable, things that you might have inherited from your family, or certain ideas that have maybe kept you in a really comfortable state. I think a lot of those things are trying to push you a little bit now to break that mold, to become a little bit less comfortable, or take a little bit more risk, or try something new. And with this square between Mercury and Chiron in the 7th house, I think that other people could possibly be an interference in this. You might have other people saying certain things or doing certain things that trigger you to either create this growth or take those risks, or they might trigger you in a way that what they're saying is not helping you in that process, but is actually being a challenge. Because a square can be a challenge that we decide to let impede us, or a challenge that is actually really helpful for growth, if that makes sense. So other people, communication with other people's desires, those types of things can sort of be going against this new vision that might be coming in for you, especially something that feels really creative, really pleasurable. Since this moon is making a trine to Jupiter in the 5th, this is something that's really feels more like soulful. And so I think you guys are trying to step into this, and I think that you will step into this, but other people could pose a little bit of a problem, or the problem that they pose can actually help you move more towards that goal. And with Venus and Pluto in the 4th house, you guys might be really re-examining a lot of your kind of existing connections, your family, your home life, what you've always taken for granted or always had stable within you. And you're starting to question those things and strengthen the things that feel aligned and remove the things that don't feel aligned. And I think that's why I pulled the 10 of Swords, which is indicating some type of ending here. You guys absolutely are having personal endings. That's what Pluto is about with your chart ruler. It's about transforming existing energies into something else by ending the things that aren't working. So it's like kind of rebooting a system, taking all of the energy that out of the dying limbs and putting it into the areas in which they're thriving or they're meant to grow. And so this is a time of regeneration that's really powerful for you guys. So whatever comes up for you right now, you are meant to be moving towards that. Especially because I pulled this wishes, desires, hope card. Like if you guys are having some visions or some ideas come in, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. No, you are meant to do that, because Venus right now is going to be retrograde, and it's going to, when it goes retrograde, it's like going into the underworld. It becomes, it dies and then is reborn when it reunites with the king or the sun. And so essentially what you guys are going through right now is this metamorphosis where you're questioning things on a really deep level. And so if you have certain ideas come through now, it's because those ideas are actually from a deeper soul part of you. And so you are meant to question them. And then I think you're meant to really do a deep analysis of your love and your relationships. How do you love? Where do you show up with shadows in your love? How does money interact in your relationships? These are all things that you guys are really meant to do a deep dive into and discover what you believe, discover what you want to move towards. And don't be afraid to face some of the darker aspects of yourself in that process. So that is pretty much what I'm seeing for you guys. Yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this. I'm sorry that the video changed, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. If this resonates, please let me know by commenting down below and giving me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you do so, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye. All right, up next is Scorpio Rising. So for you guys, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 8th house, and it's going to be making a trine to Jupiter in the 5th house. So, oh goodness, you guys. I just pulled the 3 of Swords. So, I mean, whenever a full moon happens in the 8th, there is illumination of past traumas, past pains, past hurts. And it is trining Jupiter in the 4th. So it allows a healing process. Being at home, being with family or really close loved ones that feel like they see your soul can be extremely healing during this time. Communicating, I mean, it is a Gemini full moon. So communicating about things that have bothered you in the past, Jesus. The Tower. Yeah, like these Tower moments, these things that have hurt you and broken your heart in the past could come up right now to be healed with those really close loved ones. And I feel like this is a time in which you guys are meant to be shedding that layer. A full moon is about illumination. It's about understanding. It's about deeper integration. And I think you guys are integrating those shadows or those emotional difficulties from the past, and you are moving on towards something new. With this 3 of Wands, you guys are going on a journey of self-analysis, of deeper understanding. And I think that you guys are also really examining relationships, because your modern ruler, Pluto, is hanging out with Venus, the planet of love and money. So you guys might be really doing some deep reflection around love and money, and you might be kind of voyaging into the waters of your heart, of your soul, to uncover what lies there around those topics. And you guys might even take other voyages. I mean, Venus and Pluto are in your 3rd house. So this is a time when there's already quite a bit of energy in the 3rd house of local travel. And so you guys might have the opportunity to go to somewhere new in December or even in January. You know, like the 2 weeks following this full moon. And so that could be really fulfilling for you guys to go somewhere new and kind of like mend any brokenness that's in your heart. I feel like this is your time to tap into your self-worth in terms of relationships and money, and own some things a little bit more that you guys maybe just haven't like fully owned within yourself in terms of self-confidence. Like, I think that you guys maybe have some potential that is being unlocked right now with Venus, where you are going to do this self-love kind of regeneration process. And with Mercury in the 3rd house making a trine to Uranus in the 7th, you might have some strong realization about relationships. I think that this is a time when relationships or conversations with people can bring up certain ideas of things that you do need to heal. It might be a difficult conversation with the 3 of Swords, or it might be a really healing conversation about past difficulties. Everyone's got their own timelines. It's going to look different for everyone. But regardless, it's a time of healing. It's a time of releasing some of these things. And with Mercury in the 3rd house making a square to Chiron in the 6th, you might find that specifically issues around inequality really come up in those things of pain. Maybe where you were reaching out and someone wasn't, or maybe where you were doing something for someone and someone else wasn't doing that for you, or you had feelings for someone and they didn't have feelings for you. Kind of situations like that where inequality comes up. Even in the workplace, it doesn't have to be romantic. Any kind of relationship dynamic where one person is giving more than the other can really become that source of pain. But with the trine with Uranus in the 7th, really talking about it and making changes to those relationship dynamics are extremely possible at this time. So the square is providing enough tension for us to realize what the problem is, and that trine with Uranus is here to come alleviate whatever that problem is. And you guys, as I mentioned, you have Venus and Pluto in the 3rd house. So a lot of what is happening is a restructuring of your current way of thinking. And I think that this is really helpful for you guys because you might be overly self-critical with this Virgo card, with Chiron in the 6th house. There might be times in which your mind is not your friend, but is your foe, in which you really have the opportunity now to kind of pinpoint some of those thoughts. So maybe the ones, this is Pluto we're talking about, so maybe thoughts specifically around love or money that have been really hidden from you, that have been driving your behavior, driving your thoughts. I guess that doesn't make sense. Thoughts driving your thoughts. So, but thoughts like driving part of your behavior, your action that maybe haven't been at your full awareness. So it kind of is like a time for you to bring all the shadows to the light so you can pinpoint where you might be acting, especially within relationships and money. You guys also have Mars in the South Node conjunct in Sagittarius in your 2nd house. This is about a purging process. So for some of you guys, it might be purging a certain way that you make money. It might be you guys purging certain values that you have, or yeah, like anything that also made you feel really stable and really secure, things that you might have overly relied on as a crutch. This is typically the time to let go and release those things with a lot of bravery. Make sure that you don't do it like all at once, like you're ripping off a band-aid, but it is going to take some element of force. It's going to be uncomfortable. It is going to step outside of your comfort zone, quite literally, because you are removing that blanket. So if there has been something in your life that you've overly relied on and that has, it doesn't need to go with you into this 3 of Wands journey ahead. If there's something like that in your life, this is your time to analyze that, have these difficult conversations with the 3 of Swords and the Tower. You know, allow everything that needs to be let go of to be illuminated, to face it in total truth and clarity. Have the difficult conversations and release it. And that Tower is going to make you have this 3 of Wands, which is complete freedom, where you're able to transition and you're able to move really lightly and freely through your life. So it's like your comfort zone was also what was keeping you in a box. And what I'm seeing with this 3 of Wands is that once you shed that box, you will have so much greater self-understanding, exploration, all these adventures. There's so many new lands and things that you guys will get to see that wasn't available to you before. And I feel like I need to tell you guys with this Jupiter abundance card that letting go of this comfort zone isn't going to leave you completely in lack. I do see that you guys have abundance on the horizon for you, and you might have to just leave the dock, you know, leave the shore in order to experience what that abundance is. I think you guys have been holding on to what is known out of fear or out of lack, and what is trying to come in for you guys is this brand new beginning, but you have to take the risk to go after it. I also have the She Who Divines Future Choice and Judgment card. This to me is saying that you really do have a choice here. There are going to be some of you who do not make the choice to step forward and make this decision to let go of the shore, to let go of the comfort zone. There's going to be some of you who will live in this sort of pain of knowing that something isn't right for you, but it's comfortable, it's safe, it's familiar. And this Judgment card is saying that that's your choice and you have the opportunity to do what you want. So if you want to stick with that, you absolutely can. But it's really important for you guys to keep in mind that this is a critical moment. We are about to shift into the new year. We are about to shift into the nodes moving into your sign. And so the South Node specifically. So it is a time of where you are meaning to be letting go and learning a lot of things, learning the art of sacrificing something to have something better. And I think some of you guys might not be ready for that, and some of you guys will. But just know that it's your choice, and your choice will affect your future. I also have the She Who Remains card. Powerful devotion and true worth. That's interesting. You guys have Uranus in the 7th squaring Saturn in the 4th. So that makes me feel like some of you guys will remain in the current situation that you're in and not take this risk. Another thing that it reminds me of is that even though some of you guys will take the risk, there is some sense of you remaining with the old life in some capacity. So whether this is you leaving a job but still being friends with some of those people at the job, or whether it's you guys transitioning into a new phase of your life but still trying to keep the same schedule that you kept, or still waking up at the same time, there is some element of things remaining the same even as you transition. And so I think that will make some of you guys feel comfortable. Even though you're a Scorpio rising, so having change is probably something that you're used to. Throwing things into the fire to excel in life is something that you're probably okay with. But I feel like this card is saying that some of you guys might feel really scared with this Tower moment, and that your whole life is kind of on rocky ground. And I feel like what it's saying is that, yes, it might feel rocky, and yes, you are moving onto a boat, you're transitioning to something new, but not everything is going into the fire. Not everything is being lost. There's parts of your old life that will remain. That is the thread through the past to the present, and those things are going to make you feel really solid and on 2 feet. And so the Uranus squaring Saturn in the 4th, I feel like is trying to tell you that even though there will be a change in dynamics, likely in certain relationships or likely in your home, there is going to be some kind of level of consistency there as well. So you're not just like completely throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There is something there that is remaining for you guys. So that's pretty much what I'm seeing for you. It's a time of really facing some of your fears with the full moon in the 8th house. And you know, head on, and knowing that when you do that, you are emerging into a beautiful new life that is really optimistic for you. So I hope that this resonates, and if it does, please give me a like and comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius. So for you guys, this full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships, trining Jupiter in your 3rd house. So you guys might get a lot more downloads or understanding about your relationships at this time, and it's going to open up your throat chakra and open up your ability to communicate about maybe some long-standing issues that you've had in your relationships, possibly about money, or it could be something completely unrelated. It doesn't matter. You do have, I mean, everyone is experiencing Venus and Pluto together. It is moving through your 2nd house. So I do feel like some of these issues around other people, around your partner, can surround money or around certain values that you guys hold that might differ from each other. Maybe one of you values work ethic while another person values something else. And I think what you guys are achieving right now is just complete honesty with this Ace of Swords. Like being honest with yourself, and then communicating that to someone else. Communicating your boundaries, getting really clear about what you want, about what you need. And this feels like such a beautiful blessing, because I know that you guys have had Saturn moving to the 2nd house. I'm sorry, the 3rd house of communication. And so this is a time when communication was really tested and has been just like resulting a little bit in more negative thinking or difficult situations arising, likely between partners in communication or any kind of family relationship or friend relationship even. So I feel like this is a moment of breakthrough for you guys. This is a moment of realization where you find out truly what you want. You go within with this Hierophant card, and you find out what you want with the 9 of Cups, and you become really clear on how to communicate that to the other people in your life so that you are on the same page, so that you maintain each other's boundaries, and provide what each other needs in the relationship that you guys have. And so that seems really, really beneficial. Mercury is in Capricorn in your 2nd house, which again makes me kind of feel like some of what's coming through for you is related to finances or your values, your work ethic, your skills, but really so many things about like self-worth, self-love, and money. It's making a trine to Uranus in the 6th house. So it is possible that you guys could have some financial changes due to things happening at work that are different, like getting a new position or creating new relationships with people at work that uplift you and is increasing your sense of self-worth. There is some kind of like liberation happening in the area of where you are of service to others, or even your health, and that then contributing to your finances or sense of confidence and sense of self. However, Mercury is also making a square to Chiron in the 5th. So there might be some things that get in your way in terms of pleasures or dating romance, children, that type of thing. So there might be some element of your creativity or your desire to go out and socialize or have certain things or do certain things that might be getting in the way of your financial success, or that might be getting in the way of your confidence. So ask yourself if there are certain habits that are keeping you on this like repeat that isn't actually helpful for you. And I think it's important at this time to make sure that you really are listening to your partner with this She Who Listens card, understanding, witness, compassion. I think you guys are becoming extremely wise in terms of communicating your desires, because that's what Venus and Pluto together do. They make us really clear on what we desire. And being in the second house, this is all around our worthiness and how that aligns with what we desire, and us getting really clear on what we want in the future. So I feel like you guys are doing that and you're communicating that, but the other element of that is also being equal part listener. So I think you guys need to just come at this also with that mindset, is how can I show up and express myself clearly, and how can I also make sure that my partner feels heard and for exactly what is happening. This card is underneath the King of Swords. My recommendation with that is to make sure everything is very clear. Make sure that when your partner says something to you, you say it back to them. And if what you're saying back doesn't actually match what they're saying, they can correct you until you guys get into a very clear understanding of what's happening. I also got the Future Choice Judgment card. And so this to me is really you guys having a choice about what you want to do. I think that some of you guys might have some realizations about ways in which you sort of disagree with someone, and I think that some of you might choose to end a relationship or end some type of pattern or end something in your life based off of this new truth that's coming in, and based off of the realization that certain people can't meet certain needs of yours. This is a full moon in the 7th house. Full moons can indicate ending, so some of you might be ending relationships, especially with Venus and Pluto exact in your 2nd house. If that person's values or the way that they spend money or their belief system, if those things don't align with you guys, that's not going to help you grow into the future. And so some of those relationships will end. And if it's not that, what is ending is any communication issues where you guys are maybe repeating similar patterns or similar fights, and it's like there's finally some sort of definitive ending to that. You will still have Saturn in the 3rd house next year, so you will still have some challenges to communication and thinking, but I feel like they're going to be new challenges because with this card here, there is some sort of clarity or some sort of breakthrough that is ending the illusion or the thing that was the wall between you two in a conversation or in your life. And I pulled the Sagittarius card. So the sun is moving through your 1st house. I feel like this is really emphasizing that this is a massive personal transformation for you, especially next to the 8th house card, endings and beginnings. You guys are having a regeneration of your spirit and having a lot more clarity around your purpose, your direction, your relationships. All of these things are becoming much more clear and aligned for you. And I think that this is ultimately going to lift you up. With this card, it says empower, uplift, and elevate. I feel like you guys are going to become a lot more confident in yourself as you begin to speak your needs. I think you guys are going to be confident as you have clarity about yourself and your boundaries. And I think it's from there that this true ending is occurring and a new beginning within the self and with the relationship dynamics is occurring as well. You guys also have Mars in the South Node conjunct and Sag in the 1st house. This is endings of the self. This is exactly what I was saying with these two cards next to each other. Endings and beginnings, Sagittarius is self. You guys have been holding on to certain beliefs, to certain ways of things in your life that you do, certain ways of doing things in your life, certain habits, certain traits, personality traits, even ways that you take care of your body, ways that you go show up at your job, or even the type of job that you have. A lot of you guys are going to have massive endings. Mars and the South Node are both about purging and cutting away. In the 1st house of self, it's about purging and cutting away really core aspects of yourself that are no longer in alignment and no longer helping you. So this is a time of really big change. So don't resist that change. Allow that change to flow, because everything coming up right now with Venus and Pluto in the 2nd house is helping you get super clear on what is in alignment for you. And if you try to hold on to things that feel like they're dying off, that feel like they aren't good anymore, you are just extending the suffering process. Like you're extending this process of dying off that will eventually happen. So ultimately you have a choice with this choice card. You have a choice of what you allow to die off, of what you allow in, of all of these things. But I feel like I got this card in the last group. I feel like what this card is saying is that your choice now is going to indicate a lot of your future growth. So whatever you are willing to purge and release now that isn't in alignment is going to open up more energy and more space for better things in your life coming into this next year. And this is your time, you guys. The nodes are about to shift out of Sagittarius and out of Gemini. And so this is your last haul. This is your last push. And the universe isn't going to force everything. It's going to, yes, create tension in critical situations to help you see things very clearly. And there will be honesty no matter what within yourself. But what choices you make once you receive that honesty is up to you. And so this is a time to take control, take things into your own hands, and make it happen, you guys. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Sag. If this resonates, please let me know by giving me a like and comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Capricorn Rising. So for you guys, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 6th house, and it's making a trine to Jupiter in your 2nd house. So I feel like some of you guys, your day-to-day life is going to be illuminated. So what changes you need to make there, things that you're leaving behind, maybe certain responsibilities that you've taken on, especially responsibilities for other people. Those things can all really come up to mind, and you can start to analyze if it's aligned with your values with Jupiter in the 2nd. Is it in line with creating long-term success, long-term financial stability? And I feel like whatever is illuminated now that isn't working is going to help you guys create that financial stability. And it is making a trine with Jupiter. So you guys do have potential to make money from different things happening at your job. And you guys, yeah, I think financial stability is something that is represented by having Jupiter in the 2nd right now. So if you guys are worried about that specifically going into the holiday season and everything, don't worry as much, because I feel like things are going to turn out better than you expect, at least on the back of this Gemini full moon at the very minimum. The sun is moving through your 12th house though, so this is a time when you guys might experience a little bit more letting go or withdrawing your energy. So if you feel a little bit more tired, less social, or like things are wrapping up and ending and you're not quite sure what's next, hopefully this full moon will illuminate a little bit about at least the next steps right here in terms of responsibilities on the day-to-day. But you guys might lack a little bit of that vitality or that clear sense of purpose until the sun moves into your 1st house coming up in late December. So you guys also have Mercury in the 1st making a trine to Uranus in the 5th house. So you guys might have some realizations about also things to do with relationships, dating, pleasure, or creativity. You might have some realizations about how you can change your behavior a little bit, or change the way that you think, or change the way that you communicate about these issues in particular, so that you are not hiding things from yourself. Because with Venus conjunct Pluto and Capricorn in the 1st house, there is some element of things being hidden from you. Pluto tends to bring up what has been hidden around relationships and money specifically, or around our values, self-worth, relationship with ourselves. And I pulled the 7 of Swords. This card is about secrecy and self-sabotage. So there might be ways in which you've been lying to yourself or self-sabotaging that are becoming very apparent right now within the section of relationships, money, and your relationship with yourself or self-worth. So this is a time in which you are meant to find balance within that and greater love and harmony. So if you guys have been overextending yourself for other people because there is some part of yourself, some hidden limiting belief within yourself that people will only love you if you do such and such thing, those things will be illuminated now for you to work on. And with the Mercury in the 1st making a trine to Uranus in the 5th, this is kind of giving you guys a little bit of breakthrough in terms of how to create more pleasure and joy and intimacy, creativity, intuition in your life, which I feel like are these cards right here, especially specifically the Queen of Cups. This is you guys living a life that's much more emotionally fulfilling to you. But there is a Mercury, a square to Chiron in the 4th. So it seems to be elements of the past, from your family, from your childhood, things that have been really ingrained in you. Those are the things that I feel like have been what have informed this hidden part of you, or what have shaped this part of you that is protecting yourself or is wounded and is preventing a little bit of that emotional fulfillment from occurring. So this is a time, let me reiterate, when Venus is with Pluto in the first house, for you guys to re-examine what you have hidden from yourself, the things that you have lied to yourself about, the things that you've have caused you to self-sabotage, so that you can finally live more in alignment with things that bring you joy and pleasure. And I think having the moon in the 6th house is especially illuminating the mental processes that lead you to feeling more anxiety, that lead you to feeling like you don't have something that you need, because sometimes the moon in the 5th house is where we have a lot of responsibility. We're taking care of things, we're taking care of ourselves and our body, but sometimes that can lead to issues with our mental health if we're not caring for ourselves. So those things can be illuminated as well. And with the trine to Jupiter in the 2nd, I feel like it's giving you the opportunity to stabilize some of those things, to stabilize some of those responsibilities and thought patterns that can lead you to a little bit more calmness and serenity. So that's what I'm seeing there. You guys also have Mars in the South Node and Sag in the 12th house. So this is a purging process, especially being in the 12th house. There is a need to let go to find more balance. I think that you guys might have, with the moon in the 6th, taken on too much responsibility in some way, shape, or form. You are Capricorn Rising, so you are ruled by Saturn. Your innate nature is to take on responsibility for others and for yourself, but to extend it a little bit farther than maybe you need to. And maybe there needs to be a reevaluation of that. What is my responsibility and what is not my responsibility? What do I need to take care of, and how do I put myself first in order to take care of some of these things? And with this Justice card, I feel like what it's trying to tell me is that whenever you're letting things go with that Mars South Node conjunction in the 12th house, you are going to be able to finally find a sense of fairness, a sense of equality, a sense of balance that leaves you feeling a lot more peaceful. This Queen of Cups, this Justice card, is like, we are now illuminating these ways in which we lied to ourselves that kept us working too hard, doing too much, not taking care of our mental health. And now we are reevaluating those things. We're letting some things in our life go, whether that's a relationship, a job, any kind of responsibility where you showed up so much that maybe wasn't necessarily in alignment with you or wasn't helping you grow. I think those things are becoming really obvious, and you are finally purging them, you're finally releasing them, and it's giving you the opportunity now to step into so much more peace and happiness as the year unfolds. You guys also have Uranus in the 5th squaring Saturn in the 2nd, so there might have been this ongoing storyline throughout the year of what brings me pleasure isn't necessarily what's stable and what's safe. And so you guys might have had this kind of back and forth mentality, and that could still be present at this time since it is exact around this date. And so that's just something to kind of consider, is like, what brings me joy and how can I find stability within those things, even though they might not be apparently traditionally stable on the outside. So that's something to explore a little bit. I dropped a card, 1 second. Okay, so I got the remorse, guilt, and forgiveness card. So you guys might have some trouble like releasing some of this responsibility. As a Capricorn rising, you might feel guilt or remorse for putting yourself first, for doing things for yourself that create balance and pleasure and equanimity. It might feel like you are taking advantage of people, or like you are not pulling your weight, or like you should be doing something else. There's this feeling of guilt that can accompany this letting go process. But I think that this is here to say that that you're not meant to feel guilty. If you do feel guilty, that's just a process that you have to eliminate in terms of limiting beliefs and certain thought patterns, which hopefully Chiron squaring Mercury in the 1st, Chiron the 4th squaring Mercury in the 1st, will help you release and recognize and release some of those things. I also have she who hesitates, ponder, delay, and confidence. So you guys might not be making these changes right away. It might be something that you experience more in the new year, or maybe this guilt is acting as a delay. And I feel like what this is saying is, it's okay if you don't do it right away, but ultimately what you are supposed to be doing is ending certain elements of your life. And I think you will know deep down with this Queen of Cups what that is. And so it's okay if you delay a little bit, but delaying too much is just going to wreak more havoc in your life. So just kind of remember that. Okay, this is reiterating what I was saying about Chiron in the 4th, about a lot of this stuff coming from family, from your roots, from your ancestry. So it could even be helpful to go super far back at this time and ask yourself like how your parents lived, how your parents' parents lived. Well, I did this exercise once with myself and people in my membership, the North Node Society, where we, so sorry, I just paused the video and came back. So one thing that I recommend is actually going way back into your ancestry, asking how your parents lived to kind of see like where some of this stuff might be shaped in your DNA. So if you had grandparents that lived in poverty and then your parents lived in poverty, how has that shaped your generation, your roots, and how is that impacting your decisions today? Because you do have Saturn in the second, so a lot of this is like, there can be feelings of restriction around finances or questioning around finances, fears and doubts, and that might not be yours. It might be your family's. You might actually be okay and just be unnecessarily worried. I also pulled the Uranus card, which I feel like is, again, kind of getting at this whole Saturn square Uranus thing, where it's telling you to follow your creativity, follow things that bring you pleasure, that bring you joy. Don't be afraid to make changes like this. And don't make decisions based off of those family wounds, because that I could totally see coming up for you. And you could be lying to yourself about it. You could be unaware or hiding certain things from yourself about these things. So I hope that that resonates for you guys. If so, please like and comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope that you do so. And I hope you also have a blessed day. Bye. All right, Aquarius, this full moon in Gemini is happening in your 5th house of love, dating, romance, creativity, and pleasure. And it's making a trine to Jupiter in the 1st. And I pulled the Queen of Cups right as I said that. So definitely feeling really in tune with your creativity, your emotions, your intuition, feeling really optimistic about the future with Jupiter in the 1st. With an exact trine here, it's just a really uplifting time where I feel like you guys are feeling like your life is kind of going a lot more according to plan. And maybe some of the efforts that you put into the past are starting to pay off now. Some of the ideas or the work that you've done on yourself in the past is coming through a little bit more strongly to be more encouraging for you. Okay, I did pull the 4 of Cups as well, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Empress. So that's interesting. So let's have a look at what else is going on besides just feeling really good and really social and wanting to create new relationships and being optimistic. You guys might be also kind of just following certain pleasures and joys without maybe necessarily always thinking super far into the future. That is a possibility now. But you guys, I think, are doing some deep reflection. You have Mercury moving through the 12th house. So there is a time of solitude and connecting within that is really important at this time. And it's making a trine to Uranus in the 4th. So I feel like this is an encouragement to be spending time alone or in your home, or at least talking to people who you feel like are family or are really close with you. And this trine with Uranus can also indicate that that you would maybe even benefit from making certain changes within the home, stopping certain things within the home even. And with the square to Chiron in the 3rd, Mercury squaring Chiron in the 3rd, I feel like it's specifically talking about the way that you communicate is needing to change. So maybe speaking about certain emotions in a different way is helpful for you. Of course, with Aquarius, you might be a little bit more detached from emotions, so that might be harder to communicate about at times, or having just difficult conversations or conversations with people who are really intimate and close with you. So those are the things that I think you guys are kind of deep diving into, is how do I feel about this? How do I explain this? How do I understand what's going on within myself and communicate that into the world? And with Pluto and Venus exact in your 12th house, I think you guys are kind of doing a deep dive into ways in which the past has maybe held you back. There can be a lot of fears that come up from the past with Venus and Pluto in the 12th. Venus and Pluto in general can bring up those fears, but it's usually stemming from past relationships, past connections. And so you guys might see some of those things come to the surface right now. And those are maybe some of the difficult conversations that you need to have, or just difficult realizations that you need to have about yourself. And I think that you guys are also kind of getting messages about career and finances too. So I do want to talk about that. But you guys are just generally, we're all kind of reevaluating aspects of relationship and money. But for you guys, I think it's almost reevaluating those things based off of the past. So it's like everything that happened in the past, you're like sorting through it, making sure what you want to bring into the future and what you don't want to bring. With this Four of Cups, I feel like this is you guys rejecting certain patterns or cycles that you've been stuck in and deciding to create new ones. This is you seeing like, okay, this is what always happened in the past. This is what I always did then. This is what I'm going to do instead with this Wheel of Fortune card. This is how I'm going to change my fate. This is how I'm going to create more abundance, more prosperity, and I'm going to see the things around me as providing for me instead of seeing the lack. And so a lot of this is like shifting what we value, shifting what we desire to then match this greater sense of abundance. You guys also have Uranus in the 4th making a square to Saturn in the 1st. So a lot of these things are going to be changing up your foundations, changing up your home, changing up your intimate relationships. It's requiring you to do a little bit of self-adjustment in really key core areas of your life. And I feel like you guys might specifically be leaving behind certain connections with, or a certain vision for the future with the Mars and South Node in the 11th house in Sagittarius. There might be aspects of your future now that you are completely redesigning, like this certain vision, this certain goal that you had. It's just like, actually, I think I want to do something different. Or the certain friend group that I've been interacting with so much. Maybe I want to make different kinds of friends. Maybe I want to leave some of those connections behind. And the reason I feel like some of you guys are going to have some career stuff come in is because this 10th house card that I pulled. And so I also pulled the patience, waiting, and determination card. So I feel like part of what this is saying is that you guys maybe are having some new cycles come in based off of what you're reevaluating right now, but the new cycle probably won't be here more until like the new year, until Venus finally emerges into your 1st house, which won't be until I think like March. And so you might not really see the financial rewards or the rewards for all these decisions and analysis that you're doing right now. So the Empress card is delayed, and I feel like it's trying to warn you or tell you that it is going to take a second for this recognition, for the finances, for the connections, all these things to come in based off of the changes that you're making, based off of the valuation that you're having. So just have patience with that and recognize that all the good things are coming. So I hope that this resonates for you guys, and I hope you have such a beautiful day. And I hope that you also subscribe and comment down below. Okay, bye. All right, and last but not least, we have my beautiful Pisces Rising. So for you guys, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, and it's trining Jupiter in the 12th. And I just pulled the King of Pentacles. So the 4th house always makes me feel like stable foundations, stable emotions, stable within ourselves, really supportive family or friends, deep emotional connections. And with the trine with Jupiter in the 12th, I feel like you guys are going to be giving yourself a lot of this. A lot of this is coming from within, or spending time connecting more spiritually or deeply. Or it could be a lot from your givingness and your selflessness that you've been doing lately. Like those things can add a lot to feeling really strong and stable within yourself. So that's something that I see right there, is definitely some possibilities of feeling just really beautiful emotions within the home, resting, things like that, having time to yourself to rest, to reflect. This is a beautiful time for that. Even though Gemini full moons are generally about being really social, there might be some socializing, but I also think that there's also some resting happening. I pulled the 7 of Pentacles as well in the Knight of Wands. So you guys also have Mercury and Capricorn in the 11th house, and it's making a trine to Uranus in 3rd. So this could definitely indicate some of that socialness, some of that communication, having some certain conversations with friends that also bring about feelings of lightness and kind of like resolving maybe past conflict with people, like maybe people giving you certain ideas in your life that are really helpful. But I feel like there can be, with this square to Chiron in the 2nd, maybe certain insecurities or issues around money that can come to the surface that specifically need to be addressed in these conversations or within yourself if it's not within a conversation. But I specifically feel like other people are going to be the impetus for these realizations and these breakthroughs around self-worth, around money issues. And I think I pulled the part of fortune increase as I was saying that. So that has a lot to do with, again, increasing your financial stability. And I definitely feel like you guys are on your way to doing that, especially with this full moon being the 4th house, which is all about stability. But I think that in that process, you're going to have to face a lot of these insecurities or things that may have kept you small or kind of held you back a little bit. You guys are also I pulled the Seven of Pentacles as well. So I feel like you guys are working with this King of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. You're maybe working on some kind of like long-term project right now with the Knight of Wands, something that you feel really passionate about, but maybe that you're not, maybe that you don't quite have like the exact idea of how things will work out, even though you have the King of Pentacles there. I feel like maybe some of what you're doing right now is at maybe at the beginning phases or hasn't fully played out. And with Venus conjunct Pluto in the 11th house, I feel like this is specifically having you re-examine your relationships or your goals, or even how your relationships impact your goals. And so I think this is a time to really examine your relationship with money, your relationship with others, and if those people are really aligning with the future you, the you that you want to be. And so some of you guys might realize that some of those connections are not actually helpful for you, are not part of your Seven of Pentacles, are not inspiring to you with this Knight of Wands, but are maybe just old connections that have kind of been in your life, or old visions that you've had that don't really align with your newest version of yourself. And so in those instances, I feel like some of you guys might experience some relationship issues. I did pull this card which says fragile, secret love, and rejection. So some of you guys might experience some of the more difficult emotions in your relationships around you right now. You might be rejecting people. Some people might be rejecting you, but remember that rejection is divine protection. So it is here to revolutionize your life, to shake up any of this loose energy, and not get stuck in certain relationships that are really not progressing with you. The Seven of Pentacles makes me think of what is long-term, and some of these relationships are not long-term for you. Some of these career opportunities are not long-term for you either. With Mars conjunct the South Node in Sag in the 10th house, you guys might be having certain things in your career that need to be purging. Some of you guys might be leaving behind certain traditions, certain relationships with bosses or authority figures, certain ways that you've always envisioned your life, or even just career opportunities and ideas for those visions for the future. You guys might be completely revolutionizing that and stepping into something new, which means letting something go. And so that can also feel like rejection. Maybe some of you could get fired and you feel rejected. But again, rejection is divine protection. You are being molded and shaped into a new reality right now. And so the stability within the home, the going within, the resting, working on certain long-term projects that feel much more exciting to you, those things are what you need to be working on. But if there are certain doors that are closing in your career or closing in your friendships, just accept that those doors are closing and don't try to fight it, because something new or better is trying to come into its place for you guys. And so it's all about kind of shifting the mindset. And having Pluto and Venus in the 11th house is going to help you shift it, to realign your values to something that is much more beautiful for you. So I hope that this resonates for you guys. And if it does, please like and comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.